So, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Sharon Whiteman, and it's my great pleasure and privilege to be here. You'll see Gary Knapp there, and our other colleague, Diana Hunter, is on a new decade birthday holiday around New Zealand. Today we have Karen Dennis, and it's been a while since we've had Karen, but one of our favorite speakers, and definitely you're in for a treat. Probably what Karen doesn't know isn't important. That's the bottom line, isn't it, Karen?
I hope so.
So just to give you, for those of you, I know I'm just scanning who's on the call so far this morning, and I can see that probably some of you haven't had the opportunity to meet Karen at all. Now, she's a former nurse, the mother of 4 children, and a grandmother to 6. She has studied nutrition and supplementation for many, many years, and she began her Manatech business 17 years ago in 2002. She reached the 6-figure income level in just over 2 years and has earned many awards in the process. She was Associate of the Year in Australasia in 2008 and 2013. She was a top International Business Builder of the Year in 2007 and again in 2013. And in addition, has been in the top 5 Associates of the Year in 2008, 10, 12, 13, 14, 16, and 18. Yay, Karen. In 2012, she was recipient of the Giving Spirit Award for Australasia and also into the $1 Million Club, a prestigious global group comprised of associates who've earned more than $1 million cumulatively in their Manatech businesses. These awards represent the thousands of people that Karen has helped over the years regain their health, and for many that choose to join her, they build their wealth as well. Today, we'll be talking on any questions you have, even the hard ones, the ones that you just can't figure out, the ones that are tough for anyone, or the easy ones. It doesn't matter. Business, wellness. As I mentioned just before we started, we've probably got about 8 or 9 here. So if you, and we'll do, obviously we had to do first come, first serve, but if we have time left, there's still time to put some. Probably the best place to put it is in the Q&A, which would be on the bottom of your screen somewhere, depending on what device you're using. So Karen, welcome.
Hello, Sharon. I just thought perhaps I should put my headphones on. It might make it better.
It does make the sound a little better that way.
Is that? Yes.
That's all right.
Thank you, Sharon. It's nice to be here. And thank you again for your years and years of diligence in doing these calls. And they benefit everybody. And as we all know, and we're very grateful to you. And it was lovely to see you thanked and duly recognised at the conference this year too.
Oh, thank you, Karen.
So good.
Well, doing this call is part of my quality of life. It's like one of my highest values. My highest values are integrity and contribution. And I love being here with everybody every week. And I love Manatech, and Manatech, if you weren't at the conference, part of what I said when I was acknowledged for my service to the community was that Manatech is worth it. Doesn't matter what you're going through, whether you have ups or downs or quit or get back. It really is worth your commitment. And, I really believe people are praying for what we have. And when they're ready, they hear us. Yes. Not always when we're ready for them to hear us, but.
Very true. Very true. There's an answer.
Gary's just saying the sound's better without the headsets.
Oh, okay. So is that better, Gary?
It is actually. Yep.
Okay, fine.
So perfect. So Karen, we'll start. What is there anything you want to say to start?
Oh, no, I'm not a good off the cuff person, Sharon.
Okay.
I just want to say hello to everybody, and it's great to be here, and it was great to see so many of you at the conference as well. What a great conference. I mean, I just think it was the best in years.
Yeah.
And I loved the Sheraton Mirage. No, not the Sheraton Mirage. Where were we? The Marriott. So I believe we're going there again, but yeah. I hope I can be helpful today. I mean, you couldn't be in more important times.
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely.
I just think the saddest thing is that most people are running in fear, and the other saddest thing is the job loss. My son works he's a whitewater rafting river guide and also works with school camps with children. Everything has been cancelled. So just in one day, he's completely unemployed. So this is a really big concern for lots of people. So yeah, what we have is very important, not just from the products and making our immune system as strong as Gary said, but from the business perspective. We've never had a better opportunity, frankly. If you want to turn a bad situation into a good one, is to offer this business opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're so blessed to be able to not only
Mm.
come together in this Zoom medium to virtually be able to share the good news, so to speak, and the education and support
Yep.
people, but to be able to work from home as well in order to earn income. So yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Sure.
Oh, Rachel, thank you very much. So we'll start with
Yeah.
Rachel. Rachel was the first question in, and we'll be starting with Rachel's question. So, Karen, you're really famous for working with the customer obsession framework of supporting your customers and building a long-term automatic order, residual income, healthy people business. Can you touch on those obsession points and what your recommendations are for people who want to implement that or model you?
Okay. Well, I think the basic premise that I'm sure all understand is that these are not products you take just to correct something and then you stop. And I think we need to understand that initially, that people have that mental paradigm because they're used to taking medications for certain things, although a lot of them are for life. People still want to think that if they're going to take something, it's for a short time and then they don't have to keep spending their money. So this is where our customer service becomes so imperative, and being able to relay to people why they're taking it and being able to repeat it. And I haven't found a better way to do it than to have continuous customer service. So right from the beginning, when people's products arrive, is this the vein you want me to go down, Sharon?
Yes,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
So right from the beginning, I've obviously given them a good explanation, and my team do also. Most of my team can do this as well. A good explanation of actually what the products do, without being too scientific. But it is vital that people have an understanding that it's food. And one of my key words is repetition. People don't remember things, so I don't have any problem with repeating. So initially, when their products arrive, we have a standard rule in my team that people let us know, and then we make a time to talk to them on the phone or Zoom, as the case may be, and explain how to get started. And I just don't abide with the just read what's on the label and follow it, because these days, and it's getting worse, people are more and more toxic. They can have a lot of rubbish in their body. Not they're toxic in their personality, I don't mean, obviously. They have toxins in their body. And if they just take, they bought, for instance, the core 5 products and took everything at label value, they could have quite an unpleasant reaction. They could have a strong headache, they could feel a bit sick, and immediately they're going to think these products aren't any good, they're allergic to them or whatever, and they will quit. So it's very important to explain that this can happen. And the main 2 things I explain very simply is, with the glycans, your immune system is going to improve and it's going to start to clean you up on the inside, which I've already explained is one of the major functions of the immune system, is to keep you clean on the inside. We're hearing plenty about keep washing our hands and keeping ourselves clean on the outside. But, cleaning yourself on the inside is what your immune system does. So it's going to start to pull out rubbish that you may have stored in fat cells, etc. And you may get a slight headache, or you may feel something. Now, if people know this may happen, and then it does, they're pleased. It actually works to your advantage because you've told them something's going to happen, and this is very powerful stuff. And even though it might be a slightly unpleasant effect, it's validating what the products do. So that's a huge advantage. The other one I warn about, if they have hormonal issues, which only about 99.9% of the population have, when they have the plus and the omega, which both work towards building hormones, they could have a bit of a hormonal wobble. That's my own invention, hormonal wobble. They may feel a bit irritable, they may feel a bit emotional, they may feel cranky. And people laugh and say, well, that's nothing new. I feel all those things anyway, often they'll say. But it's just great to say those things. And then they may even have dreams, outrageous dreams. That often happens when people start building their hormone levels. So again, when these things happen, they're pleased, not concerned. So that's a basic premise. So then you start talking to them when the products come, and I am a great believer in going slowly. I was taught by one of my leaders to go fast because they get a quicker result faster, but I can't do that because I just feel, you know, people can have too strong a reaction. So I go very slowly, and that gives me an excuse as well to speak to them more often. So I'll start on maybe half the amount that's recommended, roughly, depending on the individual. Speak to them again a week later, organise a call, make an appointment. People are used to appointments, and I speak to them. I ring them again a week later, or my other leaders do the same, and find out then what they've noticed. You know, what they've noticed. And of course, I've taken notes initially of what they're looking to see improved. So I might tell them things like their nails will get harder as their hormones improve, memory, their hair may grow faster, all sorts of things. Skin will improve, different things. So they're looking for these things, and I ask them if they notice anything. And if they're fine, no detox will go up gradually to the amounts they need on an ongoing basis, depending on what's happening with them. And again, it's very individual. You know, some people are not coming from a level playing field. You know, they're behind the 8 ball with their hormonal systems down, their immune systems down. So they may have to go a bit past maintenance to lift things up. You know, that's just a logic. It is only food, remember. And that's another thing I repeat a lot. It is food. You know, you're not taking medication, because often people are concerned, you know, will this affect the drugs I'm taking? No, it's only food. You know, you have no concerns. In fact, as your cellular communication improves, your drug uptake will improve as well. So the drugs will work even better. So that's quite an amazing thing for people to find out, and it alleviates any concerns they have. So what is going on in this process of building up, covering anything that may come up, and be listening for any, you know, nervous things they have and addressing them? You're building a rapport, you're building trust, you're building a relationship. You may have already had a great relationship before you started, you may not. You know, this may be the beginning of a relationship. And I think we really need to understand that people start on these products because of the trust in the person who's introduced them, that's you, rather than their belief in the products. They want to believe, but at the moment their belief is in you. So this process of nurturing as you go along is so critical, because they're building more trust in you, and they're starting to see results, and you can point out. And people forget, you know, I've told this story so many times, but I still remember my mother way back 17 years ago. After a couple of weeks, I said, "So, Mum, have you noticed anything?" I mean, I didn't know much either then, mind you. "Have you noticed anything?" She said, "No, no, no, haven't noticed anything." And I said, "Aren't you sleeping? What about your sleep? Are you "Oh, yes." You know, and I pointed out a few things, and then she realised she was sleeping better, and little things. And of course, those who remember Mum, she became a massive advocate and went right through to presidential in her 80s. Mum and Dad did. So that was amazing. But, you know, that even back then, that sort of nurturing care, aren't you noticing anything? Pointing out what she'd noticed. You know, look what ended up her becoming a presidential. Who would have thought? She certainly wouldn't have thought. But anyway, so is that enough on that, Sharon? And I mean, of course, the other major factor, if you're keeping in touch with people, and yes, that takes time, you know, and maybe not everybody wants to put that time into their business, but then you get the opportunity to introduce other products. And the loyalty program, I just think, is so amazing. And by using that, you can suggest they use extra products. For instance, I just spoke to a customer yesterday, and he's been really ill, and he regularly buys Ambritose. What does he buy? Ambritose Plus and Catalyst. That's all. He takes emu oil, so he didn't want our omega, so that's fine. But he's been really, he got some sort of vomiting bug. So I said, "Oh, you really need the probiotic." You know, that would really help to build up your gut bacteria if you've, you know, had a vomiting and diarrhea thing. So, and he had enough loyalty points and he's under a lot of stress. So I recommended to get the Immunostart with what's going on and the AO to deal with the stress in his life and also help protect him from all the damage with what he's just had. So that was 3 new products. I picked the cheapest one to add to the order. You know, I think about things like that. I go for what is not going to be, it was only extra $35 to what he's normally spending. So he was okay. And I said, and I can get you these other 2 with your loyalty points, AO and Immunostart. So this is it. When you've built rapport, you're tuning in, and things do happen to people along the road. You know, and imagine if you're not having any contact and they get sick or get a bug. Well, they can think, well, they stop taking the products sometimes because they think, oh, well, they don't feel well. So, and then they get worse. So if you're not in contact with them, you know, it all goes belly up. So this is all part of the ongoing thing. And I think, I probably should stop on this subject because I'm spending too long, but you know, I've had a classic situation of a lady who wasn't enrolled by me way down in my business. It's quite a story. She's been on the product for 15 years now. And she, because the people between her and I left the business or stopped looking after her, whatever, she was just ringing the company to do her orders. And I got in touch with her at one stage and built a relationship, and her orders are now double. And when I say double, they're around $1,000 a month of what she was buying before, just because of my care and my suggestions and building the relationship and the rapport. So I think that's probably enough. Is that enough on that, Sharon?
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And that's like $1,000 worth of value to her health too, isn't it?
Absolutely. She had 2 very serious conditions, and she also went on True Health. I brought that in. She lost 30 kilos. You know, it's just a great story.
Yeah.
A great story. And just because I, you know, offered to help and look after her. So is it worth it? I think so. You know, it's a lot of PV every month.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's a direct relationship to service, isn't it? And what about, what's your coaching on automatic orders? How important are they? And how do you express them?
Oh, well, I just find that's automatic to me. I never enroll anybody not on an automatic order. Because I explain that it's an ongoing process, you know, it's going to take time. So it's quite clear from the beginning, and this is where the loyalty program is just so easy, because I say, you know, you're going to be getting an order every month for 3 months, and they have this fabulous loyalty program where you earn 10% loyalty and you can't claim till the 3rd month. So I really go into detail with the loyalty program, and now, of course, that applies to customers as well. What an advantage. And I only told it to a new person who's signing up yesterday, who they were a bit worried about the money. Oh, they thought that was so marvellous. You know, that alleviated, you know, the money back guarantee and the loyalty program. And of course, the fact that, you know, you don't heal, you know, well, I shouldn't perhaps say that. You don't, you know, it's ongoing. It's something you need. And well, here's a good answer to your question. People often ask me, how long do I need to take this? You know, do I need to take this forever? And I don't answer, I ask, because part of the introduction has always been what's happened to the food and what's missing in the food and the toxins around, etc. So I ask them back. Also, I said, do you think the food's going to change? And people laugh and say, well, no, they don't. You know, so they sort of get an understanding this is something you do need to keep taking. But that also, when they ask that question, that also means there's a financial concern, you know, they're a bit concerned. So I always say, but it's going to always be up to you. You know, you've got the loyalty program to help you, and, you know, you can always cut back your orders. It's all, you know, you're not bound to anything. It's always going to be up to you. So I'm always giving them back the power in the situation too. Does that answer that?
Yeah, fantastic. And we have a few questions on specific health conditions. So we want to cover glandular health, specifically thyroid. People with the complex health situation that I was saying before, so sort of out of imbalanced immune system where they sometimes need immune suppression type therapy or recommended that. And
Okay.
also, well, now there's two more after that. So mental health, where people are switching personalities a little bit and have difficulty with mood control.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, with all that you've just said, pretty much everything is hormonal and immune. I mean, it all goes together. Our bodies are very complex. And I think this is why this latest video of Dr. Nugent's is so excellent. If you haven't seen it on the Manatech app, it is available on YouTube on cellular communication. And it's a very short video showing the phone. Okay, that was a lot of
So I'll break it down for you. So the immune imbalances, so it couldn't go either way. Like people can be immune suppressed, or they're needing to be on medication that suppresses or recommended to be.
Sure. Well, the reason I'm just hesitant is I have to be cautious what I say. The whole thing to understand with the immune system and what the glycans are all about is this issue of cellular communication. So the reasons people's bodies or immune systems don't kill who they should and attack who they shouldn't, as in autoimmune, I mean, that's common fact that they are attacking good cells, is a recognition problem. It's that simplistic. And if you can keep it that simplistic when you explain it to people about if these receptors aren't properly formed on the outside of the cells, they can't correctly identify who's good and who's bad. So that's very simply what the glycans are doing. So when an immune system is misbehaving and attacking good cells, the only answer the medical world has is to suppress it. And that's basically the only available treatment in autoimmune conditions is drugs that actually suppress the immune system. And what I like to say to people, right or wrong, is so if your immune system's being suppressed, how do you think that works out for you if something unpleasant comes along, like we have now? A threatening virus, and you've got a suppressed immune system. So it's helping people understand obviously you're not telling them to stop their drugs. That's not what you do at all. But by taking the glycans, the recognition's going to improve and your immune system's going to behave correctly. So the simpler the language, the better. And I know this works. I mean, this is the great thing when you've seen it happen with people, you can speak with confidence and assurance that your immune system can correct and all the cellular communication can improve. And this comes into the explanation even with mental health, with conditions, because every cell in your body, it's not just the immune system, every cell needs to be able to communicate and transmit the right information. In the brain, this is a key factor. This is how everything's transmitted. This is how your cells ask for the nutrients they need. Every single cell. Let's not get too focused on it's only the immune system cells that have to have these receptors. Every cell to be able to transmit the right information, to be able to ask for what's necessary to repair and rebuild and clean and recognize toxins and get rid of them. It's the whole process is involved. And as far as the hormonal system and mental health, which is such a big subject now, I just believe it's all down to the hormones and the cellular communication. And the hormone foods we have, of course, are Plus and Omega. They are, what provide the food for your glands to make your hormones. And the other big thing to help people understand is to keep your hormones in balance, to build them up to the level where they can cope with a shock, a big adrenaline rush or a big stress. And at the moment, everybody's pretty much in chronic stress, which means they're stressed the whole time. The fear factors, I went to line dancing yesterday and out of 12 women got 3 hugs. Because people are offering me elbows and things. Anyway, that's everyone's individual thing, but people are just a bit paranoid at the moment, and I'm not saying they shouldn't be. It's going to depend on everybody's level of understanding, and the media's done a great job of scaring us all, and continue to do so. So it's sort of a relief on the news if there's a murder or something. Because it's something different. Doesn't seem so bad. I mean, sorry to be flippant, but yeah, you know what I mean. So the hormone issue is as unknown and misunderstood as the immune system and cellular communication. People have no idea about this hormone balancing. And when you start to tell them they have 87 hormones and they regulate everything from their memory, their hair, their skin, their moods, their happiness, their digestion, their nail growth, I mean, people's personality almost changes with it. I've just so many dramatic stories. So it's helping people understand that without basic nutrients, their body's not functioning properly. And sadly nowadays, people, they go and get a diagnosis of something and then they think, well, this is who I am, this is my identity, this is my genetic heritage. There's nothing I can do except take medication. And so the better we can convey what we have in simple language, and that's the important thing, in simple language, not going into deep science, but find a simple way. I mean, like my hormonal wobbles, people smile, that's not too hard to understand what I'm saying. Am I answering that question?
Yeah, I think so, because the bottom line is for everybody listening today, for any of these labels that we get where things have gone for a long time and out of balance or whatever the combination of situations are, there are commonalities, but it's also going to require an individual approach. So, and the bottom line is, if our technology isn't the solution for everything, you're still going to be elevated on your ability to face whatever being thrown at your body. It's just allows a resourcefulness within your physicality that's really important.
Absolutely. And again, keeping up the contact. This is all still connected to the first question. Keeping up the contact, repeating fact, reminding them. I've had people after 5 calls say, so what does Plus do? People don't remember all this. You know so much, and you've told them once, like I've already told you this, but they don't remember. So repeating it and reassuring and reaffirming, and maybe sending another article that's relevant, sending another Dr. Nugent video if they want it. And that's another really important factor for people who want more information. That white paper, that glycoscience white paper by J.C. Spencer, I shouldn't have probably said that, but that's just a fantastic paper you can send to people. So I shouldn't have said that, should I? Because then everyone's going to want me to send it now. Anyway, that's okay. I'm happy to do so.
You send it to me and I'll make sure they get it.
Thanks.
And the other thing is, what do you do to help people who really want to research, or where's the proof of this, or why does my doctor doesn't know?
Well, there is I just had one the other day exactly like that, and that's why I love that white paper. Even though the man who wrote it is a researcher and he is a presidential with Manatech, there's nothing about Manatech in the article. So it's like a separate article. So that's one of my favourites. But I watched a TED talk the other day. I think YouTube is a great resource. There's so much about glycans now. I watched a TED talk the other day by a scientist that someone in my business sent me. I hadn't seen it. And it was this elaborate explanation, very scientific, of cellular communication, pictures of cells laid out, and they even named all the sugars, all the different ones that are missing, etc. Everything laid out. And you got to the end, and he was a scientist talking about the drugs they're now developing using the using synthetic sugars. So it wasn't a Manatech presentation. So there's plenty of evidence out there, if you look for it, that you can actually send to people depending on how much they need. But be careful. they don't always need too much.
Yeah. Sometimes well, would you say, Karen, it's more important to be asking questions than to be sending lots of information?
Absolutely. And sometimes, you've seen those funny ads on TV where a child asks where they came from and the parent goes into an elaborate sexual education explanation, and they meant what town were they born in,
Yeah.
So, it's funny. Don't overdo it.
And what about family, Karen? You're pretty blessed that most of your family embraces it. Mine are like this. They're like, still 20 some years later, they're still like that.
Yeah. Well, not all my family embrace, but they are all taking it at some level, which has been great. And I don't know. I guess I'm so committed, and I've just kept talking, and most of them listen to me, not all of them. And I don't know what the secret is. I guess relationship again. I won't mention any names, but it depends on the relationship, and they've seen their own results. So I can't really give any clues of how I did that, except persistence and passion and focus.
And I think you just realistically, you're not alone is one thing to say. It's probably more common to have difficulty with family than the other way around.
Absolutely. And if you can bring in another person to do it, sometimes a third party is more beneficial. Getting them to, that's what I did with Mum. That was sort of the story with Mum right at the beginning. She wouldn't listen at all. And, that's where back in the days, Dr. Reg came to Brisbane. How amazing, one of the original scientists. Yeah. And Dad and I virtually dragged Mum to Brisbane from the Sunshine Coast to hear Dr. Reg, and that was it. So, again, using that third party if you can, maybe getting them onto this call next week with Dr. Nugent, something like that. Well, don't believe me, but this man has multiple degrees. It's really good to learn all his qualifications. Come onto this call and listen to him. So I think that's one of the best things to do, because the more you badger your family, the more they turn away. Well, that's the same with everybody, really.
Yeah. I think that my favorite thing about Dr. Nugent is his President Emeritus of the American Naturopathic Association.
Absolutely.
That's outstanding recognition.
Absolutely. And he just relates the information so simply and so well.
Yeah. Question about children. Any cautions, recommendations, just for the answer? Mine started from their first bottle with Ambrose complex. Do you have any recommendations of age or limitations or?
No, well, I don't think there are any limitations, frankly. No, I've seen incredible things over the years, even using, sport and plus with children with serious situations. Manna bears have wonderful results. Children have hormones from birth. Let's remember that too. And that's another, sort of one of those funny misnomers that people think hormones start at puberty. They don't. And their hormones regulate their learning. So I often talk about that, their learning ability. I wish I could tell you some stories, but I can't. I've just seen incredible results with children taking our products. And the Ambrose, the Plus, the Omega, all my grandchildren take everything. They chew up the Omega, would you believe? And they all take everything. Am I allowed to talk about my own grandson or not?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, my grandson was getting very angry for lots of reasons, and he would just lose the plot. And this is a pretty common thing these days with some children. And at kindergarten, if something went wrong when he was a kindergarten before school, at 4 years old, someone did the wrong thing, he destroyed the kindergarten. Like, he would just go mad, which is pretty frightening for all the other kids and the teachers and the mother and the grandmother. What's going to happen? And he has 3 Plus and Omega and Ambrose every day, and he's great. So
kids are really responsive.
Absolutely. And you know what? He asks for his Plus. he wants them.
Yeah.
He knows it makes a difference. He feels better. You know, he's not feeling it, you know, absolutely. Now, who likes feeling angry and stressed and out of control? We don't. So he wants it because
Puts them back in the driving seat, doesn't it? Of their
yes,
feelings.
absolutely, absolutely. So that's just one example, but there's really no limitations with children. They may not need as much as an adult. It's always based on what's going on and starting gradually and just increasing according to need, according to need.
Absolutely. And your recommendation, if somebody only wanted to watch one video or one thing, what do you recommend?
Oh, okay. Well, I still love the sweet language of life, the short one. I still think that's a great thing to send out. A lot of my team still do that. I don't know if we're supposed to or not, but I just said it anyway. Just the short version of the 5-minute one that's on YouTube. But I must say, at the moment, I'm just a big fan of these latest two with Dr. Nugent. The one,
cool.
Innovation to Glyconutrition, where he's actually saying it's something you could show to someone brand new. It's a nutrient you've probably never heard of. If you've got the Manatech app, I've just gone crazy sending it out, and I've had incredible response from existing associates as well. You know, just reminding them, especially now with what's going on, what the glycans do. And then the other one, the cellular communication one, the two new ones, and they're both, I don't think they're even 5 minutes. I think they're only 3 or 4 minutes.
5 or 6, yeah.
Yeah, they're just so, and that to me is great. You want short. So they're my favourites at the moment. I'm just using those. You can send them in SMS, you can send them in Messenger. You just need to be careful. I should just say this, because I sent it from the Manatech app to Messenger, and it came up with the right picture, and when you played it, it was an application form about this great business opportunity and a video about the business. So there was some Facebook algorithm that mucked it up, going from the app to Facebook Messenger. So just be careful. So then I sent it by SMS and email, and it was fine.
We'll get, for those wanting to learn more about that, we'll get someone on in the coming weeks about some Manatech app training.
Yes, good.
And Plus and Immunostart, yeah, you can definitely crush them. That's not a problem for small children.
Yes, well, people do. Yep, absolutely, and it still works. Some people do crush up the Plus because it might be hard. I mean, my grandkids just swallow them, but starting a child when they're 5 or 6 or 7, or 10 or 14 even, they're not always that receptive. So crushing up and mixing in yogurt, one of the best ways is just in a coffee grinder or in a tea towel with a hammer works as well. Immunostart,
for small children, it'd be a choking
for
thing.
Small children, yeah,
very small, yeah.
Yeah, but it tastes lovely, Immunostart, and it's a nice suckable one.
Yeah, and you know what? My 3 kids, they all have different tastes. Some 2 love Immunostart, 1 hates it. So I just find ways around it. And the other thing that I do is I do a lot of education, and I start to point out the differences, especially with Plus. It's like they're 10 to 13 now, so lots of hormones running all over the place, and they're starting to notice the difference when they're in the driver's seat and when they haven't. So I'll point out, when was the last time you had your Plus? And they start to gradually learn their own body, and I think that's a really important.
Yes, and that's absolutely true. I mean, you mentioned my family before, and yes, while my children are adults, they've gone through phases of slowing down and stopping because their money talked to them, and what they wanted, or should I say, what they wanted to spend on their money on talk to them. But they all come back. I said they can go away and they come back because they feel the difference and know the difference. And they've had the mental, like you're saying, brainwashing. So it's in their minds why they need it. And then when they start to feel less, they know it's because they've cut their products back.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to point that out, don't you? Because when people get on the products, there's that concept of the new normal where they start to, and they forget what it was like before. I've even noticed myself, if I've made some changes and I go, I'm not feeling, oh, that's right, I've been doing this, sometimes they need help.
Yeah, and understanding what's going on in people's lives. Like at the moment, you know, talking to people and explaining that there is this, you know, energy in the world of stress and anxiety. And, you know, they may need a bit more at the moment. You know, that's another thing to be considering and be understanding. I mean, I'm sucking Immunostar, even though I'm not stressed and I already live in isolation in the country. I'm just taking more Immunostar because, you know, to protect myself.
Mm.
So, you know, understanding you may need more. You may need more AO if you're stressed to help protect you from free radical damage from stress. So, you know, just be aware of those things too, taking more and
So we've
stocking
got
up a little bit.
three questions left, Karen.
Yes, sorry.
When and do you, and if so, when do you introduce the business to wellness clients?
Well, I play everything by ear, obviously, and by listening and getting to know them. And probably the most common time I would do it is when, you know, if they're having trouble paying for the products. But another common time is when they just want to help people. I mean, Anne Everingham, who won the Gold Executive of the Year, is my classic story.
Yeah.
Who just, you know, I was looking after her regularly with calls and product. And she was having such great results, she just kept referring people. And this, of course, was back in the day where everyone was an associate. There wasn't the distinction back then. So I kept doing calls. I would do three-way calls with her, and she just started making money. And she didn't really want to, and her husband didn't want to either. But, you know, but that sort of shifted. So that can happen. People just start wanting to refer people. So then I will explain, well, if you're an associate, you know, you'll be getting some money back on your own purchases. And even if it's an affording thing, I say that, well, look, being an associate is going to be better for you because you'll start to earn some money on even your own purchases, especially if they're buying a larger order, because that power seller bonus on 0 level is really excellent. You know, it's once you get over 500 PV, you're up to 7.5%, and 1,000 PV, 10%, and so on. So that's a really good bonus and makes a difference. And I talk freight free. You know, I have a few key words that sound good. You know, you'll be earning enough that at least your freight's free. And yeah, so I don't have a set rule. It's not a planned target. I'm just in tune and playing it by ear, I guess. And keeping it simple, how I explain it too.
Being really in touch with the needs of making that primary, which is the bottom line. We're fulfilling needs, aren't we? Providing
absolutely
answers.
Because it's automatic. Once people start feeling better and noticing things, you know, one of the early questions often is, you know, they know someone else who's got something. Would this help my auntie who's got da da da, or would this help my son who's got da da da? So yes, so that's when you can introduce it and explain. And I just keep it as simple as possible. You know, the company pays on turnover of product, something as simple as that. You know, if you introduce a couple of people, it's going to be part of your turnover and you'll earn a bit more money. You know, just keep it really simple. You know, you can even get to the stage of getting your own products free. And that's what Don Partridge has always said. People say, how much does it cost? It's free.
Only selfish people pay for it, he says.
Yeah, that's right.
He's the hard line guy, isn't he, Don?
Yeah.
And how do you there's a question on how do you recommend briefly how you make money? What steps? Like somebody just introducing as a brand new starting point, what would you say? So
this is someone who's looking at the business?
Yes.
Well, there was a great presentation which I put together for the, I think it was the Connect 5, which I'm sure is on the Manatech website, and a slideshow, a PowerPoint, I should say. Slideshow's a bit out of date. PowerPoint, because I did love the presentation. Well, I made that presentation and Manatech incorporated it into other pictures beforehand. Because the thing about the Team 2 and Team 4, the bonus development one, is that all the bonuses are incorporated in that presentation. So that's even though there's only 6 different bonuses now with the new compensation plan, it's still too hard to explain it, and people, you know, don't really want to know that much information. So the great thing about that presentation is it shows the increase in income and the activity that creates it, and all the bonuses are incorporated in that. So you don't have to learn all the check, match, mentor, all the different bonuses to understand what the income level is. But I'm a great one for making new PowerPoints all the time, you know, simple ones, you know, to show how you can earn an income. But, you know, anyway, I don't know really how to sort of explain that better, just keeping it as simple as you can. Just a small example, introducing 2 people as a customer, as customers increases your bonus, adding people as associates increases your turnover. But using a PowerPoint, I think, is the best. I think it's a visual thing, and I encourage you to look that one up in the library. I'm sure it's there.
I'm just writing down the things that we've talked about so I can find them for people.
Sure.
And one of the final questions we want to focus on is, how would you recommend people invite for Dr. Nugent? Like the challenge here, you know, we've got half of 100 here, and how many people would be blessed if they could hear about solutions for their immune function next week on Saturday? So how would you recommend that you'd reach out to people right now, and even what you'd say? And would you say, you know, try and reach out to 3 people a day, or what do you recommend to your team, Karen?
Well, I would recommend you need probably between now and next week 3 contacts for a start with everybody that you're going to invite. If possible, I'd love a rundown of his accreditation in an email. I think that would be my first thing, just a personal email. I mean, I have a big email list, or you can send individual emails, but I would just be emailing saying there's an incredible opportunity coming up next Saturday morning. So it's not even personal to start with. You know, you could do it by message, you could do it by messenger or email, but not necessarily by personal contact. And just say, do your own write-up about how incredible he is. And he'll be talking about, what will he be talking about, Sharon? He'll be talking about how to strengthen your immune system and feel safe in these current times, you know? Yeah, say something like that, something that's topical and relevant. And he's a highly qualified doctor. He's the you know, Chief Science Officer at Manatech. And, you know, it's just a conference call you can come on and hear and learn how you can protect yourself and your family. Just, you know, use the words that people want, the things that people want. You know, learn how to protect yourself and your family. Pick your words. So that would be my initial contact. But then, you know, I'd be contacting people, maybe giving them a call, giving them a text. A few days later, did you see my email about Dr. Nugent? Do you think you can hope you can make it? And then they might contact you back. So I think the 3 contacts during the week is a key thing. And that just came to me, so it must be good. I didn't have a chance to think about it. And then maybe even a personal call at the last, making sure you've sent them the link at the last minute. But, you know, people have very short memories. You know, it's been proven now that goldfish have a longer remembering span than humans, than people. It's pretty depressing. So, you know, that's why I think the multiple reminders, and I'm sure you've all experienced it. You've invited people to think, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I forgot. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, you know. So, yeah, the last minute would probably be the Friday afternoon, next Friday afternoon. Or for the really bad ones, 7 a.m. on Saturday morning.
I'd probably fall in that category.
In Queensland, yeah. But I think the multiple reminders, picking some good words that you send out, short and brief, and what is about, and so it's relevant to them, what's going on at the moment and what you can do, you know. Good advice from a highly qualified naturopath/doctor.
You can say things like, you know, simple steps to superpower your immune system, or immune support in uncertain times.
Yep.
We can do it at Immune Support Town Hall. We could do
Yep.
something like that.
Yep. Yep.
So you could say something like, it's basically a town hall, everything you need to know about supporting your immune system right now.
And, say no cost. You don't have to download Zoom. That's another thing. People could think, oh, I haven't got Zoom. I can't do that. So, remember those things. It's getting in other people's minds,
Yeah.
So the reminding and remembering, you don't need to do it. There'll just be a link and you can just click on it on your computer or your phone and listen, so yeah.
Stuck at home?
Pardon?
Stuck at home, we've got something for you to do on Saturday morning.
Yes. Need some different entertainment. Sick of Netflix? Watch this.
Like-minded community, things like that, where people that are interested in being proactive themselves.
Yeah.
And somebody's talking about the bio. If you go back into any, if you're on Australasian Connect on Facebook, all the past events are there, and you can just click on one with Dr. Nugent. His full bio is there to copy if you want to use that to send out. And
thanks, Irene Fraser.
Yes.
Thanks, Irene. We saw that.
Gotta love the chat, don't we?
Yeah.
And I'll do my matter of fact, I'll do my best. I'll send that notification out this weekend, as opposed, usually I send it midweek. So I'll send that email out, and then you guys can use any part of it.
But make sure you use your words first. Don't start off with his bio. Start off with your words, and then if they want to read his bio under that, your words are the grabbers. What it's going to do for them and why it's a good idea for them, and not too long. Short.
Yeah.
People have got short attention spans.
And especially in texting, you can customize it to the person you're sending it to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think text's the best. I do, really. Yeah. Emails are getting to the point now of being a bit like mail in the mailbox,
They are.
That doesn't happen much. It all seems to be on the phones, which is another reason I love sending the videos like Dr. Nugent. I think it's more effective on the phone in a message than it is as an email, because people are sitting on a bus or whatever they're doing. Oh, no, they're not doing that much at the moment, but, watching something on their phone is simple.
And I can, hopefully, if you're not getting the Facebook Messenger messages from me, all you have to do is go to Australasian Connect. So it's Facebook. Just put it in the chat, and you send a message there, and then every week I'll send you a messenger reminder, and that's something that's easy to send to somebody, to forward to someone on Facebook. I mean, it's a reminder for you, but it's also easy to send on for somebody, and that will come out next week as well. So, and the other thing, Karen, you have to use the modality that's right for that person, don't you? Some people aren't even on Facebook.
Absolutely. Not every, for some people, email is definitely still the best.
Yeah.
But look, you're probably going to ask me if I've got anything last to say. I don't know if we're up to that yet. But one thing I really feel very strongly about at the moment is the business opportunity and the whole working from home. There's been so many posts on Facebook about working from home. My nephew is in the hotel industry and he's having to put off staff. And, we're looking for people who are unemployed. My son, as I mentioned, this is whether he will or not, but it's a time to have that conversation. Look at Manatech as a business opportunity, an investment opportunity. You can invest in, a small, you don't have to be buying large orders. It's only 150 PV to get paid. So people can just be spending about $250 a month. You can get plenty of combinations of products of 150 PV for, the skincare package is only $229, and that's over $100, and that's over 150 PV. So showing people how they can spend $50 or $60 a week and introduce friends doing the same thing. Keep it really simple explanation of just buying 150 PV and getting 5 of your friends to buy 150 PV, and you'll be, a gold associate earning $100 or more a month. In a very short time, you can be getting your products free and making some extra money. And the prospects are out there in abundance at the moment because people are literally losing their jobs. And we've got the work from home, the online ordering. You know, it's a perfect storm.
Match made in heaven, isn't it? Yeah, it is.
Perfect storm. We've got the products to help them and the business model that's work from home, online buying. You know,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
So it's perfect storm and with the perfect solution, really. So everybody needs health right now, and they need security of income. And some have lost it completely, but there's no better, even if someone still is going to find whatever their career is and they're still able to work, this is a wake-up call for everyone that that single income stream is not safe any longer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Having a side gig or a second stream of income is really important. And the other thing I like to promote when I'm talking is, and remember this, there's no risk. You know, what business could you start at the moment? You've got to have capital for every business. You don't have to have capital with this. Your only risk probably that you won't get back is $49.95 to register, you know, but you're getting products that help you, and there's a 90-day money back guarantee. I mean, it's an absolute no-brainer, but it's how you're going to present it. And, you know, so work that out, how you're going to present it, and just keep it really simple. Always a good plan.
Karen Dennis, God bless you. Thank you so very much for so generously sharing with us this day.
It's a real pleasure. Look, good luck, everybody. We're really important. You know, what we do is so important. And, you know, I said years and years ago, in the future, people who take people who take glyconutrients are going to be significant. You know, they're going to be the healthy ones, the safe ones. And, you know, we have the best message in the world. And I'm sure you've all noticed it's all about keeping clean and being isolated, and all about fear and running away from it instead of about health. So we need to get out the different message. Be strong, be healthy. And, anyway, I won't rave on anymore.
So specifically on our challenge right now, the biggest fear is the impact on our health system, which is fully unprepared. They're completely unprepared for even a small percentage of serious cases. So our social isolating is like a giving thing. It's like to support them. It's not so much to be terrorized by this virus. Although, you know, if you've got risk factors, then more glycans, you know, like it's not going to protect you against anything, but your best defense right now is a strong immune system. And there's nothing better in the whole planet. Yes, there's, you know, people are out there talking about vitamin C and some vitamin support for you. That's all true as far as antiviral support, but to launch an immune response effectively, you need abundant nutritional glycans, and that's what we have. And we have the best in the world. That's massive.
Do you want me to tell you a good story?
Sure.
My daughter bought Immunostart, which she doesn't normally. I hope she doesn't mind me telling. She probably isn't on. So
we've got more than one daughter.
Okay. Anyway, she got some Immunostart the other day, took it to work and gave her boss an Immunostart and would have said what it was. And a boss signed up on the spot at work as a customer and bought 4 Immunostart for her sons. So that was a good story.
That's a great story.
So, you know, the conversations are there. The conversations are there. But, you know, take your product. When's the best place to take your products? In front of other people. Okay.
And so everybody, learn more about that next Saturday with Dr. Nugent, the specifics of what you can say to people to support their immune system in this kind of uncertain time. So have a great weekend. Lots of gratitude in the comments, Karen. I don't know if you had that open, but everybody's very grateful. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. All right.
Bye
bye-bye.
for now. Bye-bye.
Thanks for being here.